Hey YouTube, it's me, Doka. I wanted to give you guys an update on ketamine. I've done 2 sessions and I have not gotten around to editing the video of my very first session. So let me just give you a recap of what I've experienced so far. So my first session, they sent me these dissolvable tablets in the mail. I put it under my tongue and it slowly dissolves. It tastes very nasty, bitter, like bitter medicine. And right before I took the dissolvable tablet, I took some Zofran, which is anti-nausea medication. I took 200 milligrams. I did eat right before I took this dosage, which I think kind of diluted the effects of the medication. But I took 200 milligrams on a full stomach. I did not have any nausea. And it kind of felt like I was just drunk, buzzed. It was very hard to really think, to really focus on something, if you asked me to do a math problem, I would not be able to do that mathematics problem. But all in all, it was fun. Had a great conversation with my partner. It wore off. The buzz wears off after 45 minutes, and then after about an hour or so, I had my wits about me, and after 2 hours, I felt like solid enough to do things, but I still didn't feel comfortable to drive. It did keep me up. I stayed up really late. I think that's just one of the side effects of the ketamine. Now, session 2, the doctor increased my dosage to 250 milligrams. This time I did not eat prior to the session. 2 hours I did not eat, and I think this made it absorb a lot better into my system. I totally disassociated. Now it was like, I guess you could say I had a trip. It was not like a super duper intense, like I'm in a different planet type of thing. It was not like, when you see those cartoons and stuff starts turning into dragons and unicorns. It was not like that. I would say it was a mild psychedelic trip, just based on what I hear people experience. I would say what I experienced was mild. So I took it, put it under my tongue, and at first it felt like the first session. I just felt buzzed, and I just thought, okay, whatever, same old. I'm just gonna chill. Let me watch a little movie, okay? But before I knew it, I was out, okay? It just kind of felt like I fell asleep. Then all of a sudden, it felt like I knew I was awake, but then also it felt like I fell asleep. You know what I mean? When you fall asleep and you thought you were just sleeping for 5 minutes, but you were actually asleep for 5 hours. That's how I felt. Because I kind of started waking up oh man, I can't tell if my eyes are open or closed. Because my eyes will be open and I'm nearsighted. So I didn't have my glasses on, so I couldn't see very well anyway. So my eyes were just focused on what was right in front of me, which was my blanket. And then everything beyond my blanket was blurry, as it always is. But the ketamine probably, exacerbated that. So when my eyes are open, I see that. When my eyes are closed, I felt like I still see that. Okay, I see, what I saw was the after image. You get a flash in your eye and you close your eye and you still see what you saw, an after image. That's what I saw. And I was just so trippy about it. I was just whoa, man, this is totally radical. I was just so trippy about it. And I felt like there was a part of my mind that just was very imaginative and artistic, and I felt like I was in a work of art. I felt like I was in some type of Picasso Cubist artwork, you know. I felt like I was in his blue era Cubist art, and I just felt like so funky, like, and I felt like Salvador Dali's painting with the melting clocks. That's what I felt like. I felt like my body was just melting into my bed, like, oh, I just want to lay here forever because I don't know where my arms begin and my bed stops. I'm just here. That's how I felt. I asked my partner, like, how long has it been? It's been like 15 minutes, right? And he was like, no, it's been like, it's been an hour. It's been almost an hour. I was like, whoa. And I started sobering up. Like, I was still very buzzed, but I started to like not be so out of it. Sat up, put on a movie. I know they say not to watch anything that's like negative, like don't watch horror films or anything like that, but I don't know. I guess I realized during this session that I have a place in myself for the macabre. I like that stuff. I turned on The Purge. I was like, hey, I've never seen The Purge before. Now seems like a great time to watch The Purge. So we're watching The Purge. It turns out to be so stupid. And it's like, even in my under the influence state, I'm like, this is so stupid. I cannot watch it anymore. And then I actually start watching the show called Ratchet on Netflix. It's based off a character from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, but the show, it really has nothing to do with One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. It's basically American Horror Story Asylum Part 2. Okay, it's American Horror Story. I was watching that. I never would have watched that if not for this session, because I don't know, I just don't be watching TV like that. Like, it seemed like an interesting show, but I wouldn't take time to watch it. But I really got into it, honey. I got into that show. So I don't recommend that you do that if you take ketamine, because everywhere it says do not watch anything that is weird, creepy, horror, unsettling. Do not watch it. But I guess I like it that much. I did. But after 2 hours, I was good to have a conversation and concentrate on a conversation. I actually got on a business call. I was able to do things as long as I didn't have to like really walk around and do stuff. I was good. And then what was I about to say? Oh, and then again, it kept me up very late. In addition to that, I do get headaches. It may be from the Zofran. The doctor said the Zofran may be exacerbating that, but there's no issue with taking an ibuprofen or melatonin to sleep. And the doctor recommended that maybe if I don't have issues with nausea, maybe don't take the Zofran, just sip some ginger tea. And that'll help with the headaches. But anyway, the experience was quite interesting. So what I'll do, I think I'll do my third session tomorrow. And I think I'll do it like legit first thing in the morning, like wake up and take that ish so that it's out of my system by midday. I can get things done and go to sleep at a reasonable time. What else? In addition to that, I'm going to cut my tablet like in half. So instead of taking 250 milligrams, I'll take 225. The experience was interesting, but if I could not experience that again, I would be totally fine with not having to experience that whole, whoa, man. I would be fine not having to experience that again. Some people feel like it helps with the treatment. They feel like it provides its own benefits to the treatment. I don't know. My doctor, there are some doctors that they prescribe it specifically for you to have that type of experience, and even more intense of an experience. My doctor is like, it's just up to you if you want to or not. It's up to you. I would prefer not to. I would prefer not to. I like feeling kind of buzzed, you know what I mean? Like going to a party, have a little drinky drink. I like that, but like seeing stuff when I close my eyes, I'm not into that. Oh, I forgot to mention. When I woke up the next day for my second session, I was seeing psychedelic stuff when I closed my eyes. Like when I closed my eyes, I would see like these beautiful watercolor lines, and it looked very much like I was in a Georgia O'Keeffe painting. You know those paintings that look like flowers and women's lady bits. That's what every time I close my eyes, that's what my eyes behind my lids looked like. It was really beautiful, but also kind of creepy, because then they would start forming into the shape of a person, and I'm like, no, okay, no, we're not about to do like third eye, a secret guardian angel, higher self appearing before your eyes. We ain't finna do that. That's too much for me. Having psychedelic effects the day after, I'm not about that. So I'm actually gonna cut it to 225 milligrams, and maybe I'll eat a little bit. Like I'll have a little bit of a snack and just experiment and see what that does for me. But I wanted to share that because I have not edited my video yet, and I know this is something that there's not a lot of YouTube videos out there about this treatment. So here's my experience. So by the way, just so you know, I have 4 more sessions to go. The effects of it, after my first session, after a day, I did feel significantly more cheerful. I do have a more cheerful disposition in general. Like, I'm more caring to my, my honey bunny. I'm just a little bit more caring, a little bit more, I don't need you to hug me. I'm fine, but I know you like hugs, so let me give you a hug, sweetie. I'm a little bit more like that, but I'm still like, in the inside of me still has a B word. There's still definitely a B word inside. That okay, maybe we'll be able to get her out after my second session. Now, after the first, like that same night, I was useless. The next day, I was not as useless as when I'm deep in depression, but really not that useful. And then the day after, I still wasn't that useful. But today, I am quite useful. And what's interesting today is I still feel like how I typically feel when it comes to work. Like, hey, let's get dressed and go to the office. Hey, let's, make some phone calls. Let's do this. Let's do that. We have a client appointment. All of those things, when I think about it, I get just as stressed. Like, I feel stressed out. But the difference between today and what typically happens is, typically I'll feel stressed out. I'll somehow talk myself through it. I'll drink some coffee. I'll take something that will help me power through it. And after I get it done, I'm exhausted. Like, oh my God, thank God it's over. Today, I feel like, oh my God, I know I'm going to be exhausted after this. I do the deed, and I'm not, I'm okay-ish. I'm like, that actually wasn't bad. That wasn't too bad. So I feel like what needs to happen now is I need to just go ahead and start implementing the habits that lead to success that I have been afraid to do. Because honestly, I have been very afraid to be a productive, hardworking person because I feared falling into a depression, getting burnt out, and, you know, feeling as horrible as I used to feel. Maybe now is the time to start normalizing, you know, just normalizing those habits and start doing them again, because maybe now I actually can handle it no problem. Or maybe after I finish my treatment, I'll be able to handle it. So I'm still exploring that. Thank you for watching. I hope my update provided you some peace of mind and insight. And until next time, make sure you subscribe. Much love, much luck. Peace out.